Remember back then we talked about the fungal growth on his skin, the acne, the discoloration. Since that time, things have only gotten worse, perhaps not in his skin, but within the inside of his body. Will he choose to actually retire from bodybuilding? And the answer is Coach Greg. In today's video, Sven Carlson, aka the genetic anomaly, he has heart failure. In his previous video, he'd scanned his organs, namely his heart. On his scan, he had dilated cardiomyopathy. And that, in combination with a reduced ejection fraction, means he's literally suffering from heart failure. Now, the doctors at the time, they requested that he do an echocardiogram. Following this echocardiogram, the doctor said, bro, you need to do an exercise stress test to see just how bad it really is. How do you all think he was going to do on an exercise stress test? Bro can hardly breathe. He's sleeping with a CPAP. He's hunched over. He turns blue and he's pushing weights in the gym. He's been doing that for years. He's put on so much muscle that his body is saying enough. And so, of course, he's failing the test. Now, he doesn't talk about the failed test. He doesn't provide his results, but he simply posts a video saying, heart failure at 22, am I done? The answer is, of course, he's done. But will he choose to actually retire from bodybuilding? And the answer is a resounding no, at least not until he turns 30. And so his goal is, well, I'll just take telmisartan, Nebivolol, perhaps throw in some cholesterol medications, some aspirin, and I'll be good. You know, give me 8 to 10 years so that I can become an IFBB pro, perhaps win the Olympia. And after that, well, then I'll retire. The problem is by then it's going to be too late.
I'm not better because I'm dying slowly.
Why?
Because my heart is failing.
No.
Technically speaking, he's correct. He's slowly dying. Now, the problem is he's dying more quickly than you or I. When you take and abuse steroids, it's not as if it happens like that. He's not going to wake up tomorrow. Well, perhaps he might not. I mean, but most likely, it's not as if he's going to wake up tomorrow and no longer be with us. It's a slow decline of which you slowly start losing your function. If you look at his lifting career, he started, 16, 17 years of age. When he first started lifting weights, he actually looked younger than his stated age. But when you look at him today, he looks older. And so he's literally speed running through looking older, and he's doing it all for what? Like, really think of it. He's doing it so that he can have big biceps, chest, shoulders, but essentially just to have big muscles. And why does he need that? Well, because it makes him feel like a man. It makes him feel good about himself because he's good at it. But remember, is he good at it or are the steroids good at it? What would he look like without steroids? Well, we saw him on HRT. He was significantly smaller. I believe he was over 30 pounds smaller than he is right now. And that was just last year. You all remember Nick Trilogy? Remember he was coaching him, telling him what substances to take, what not to take, and that he said, well, bro is actually healthy. Remember back then we talked about the fungal growth on his skin, the acne, the discoloration. And since that time, things have only gotten worse, perhaps not in his skin, but within the inside of his body. Remember, the skin is one thing, having acne, gynecomastia, of which he had surgery, perhaps losing your hair. But what's more important than all of these superficial things is what's going on the inside, your liver, your kidneys, your organs. This is what really does matter.
I have a protocol. We're going to do it. We're going to fix my EF.
He states, I'm going to improve my ejection fraction, which he 100% can. I saw in his previous video that he was going to start swimming. He was in the water. Certainly, it's beneficial to do cardio, but more important than even doing cardio is he needs to stop the steroids. That is literally the cause. And so here's the thing. Of all the medications you could get, for example, he could be going to Algorex. He could be taking any of the various peptides, the telmisartan, the list of everything. But do you know what? If there was a pill as good as stopping steroids, it would outsell everything at Algorex combined. Stopping steroids is the pill that he needs to take, but it's a tough pill to swallow. Consider this, just the fact that he's going to lose muscle by stopping steroids, that is going to make everything easier in his body. When you have 50 or maybe 100 pounds more muscle than is normal, it's really no different than if you were 100 pounds overweight from fat and you're now morbidly obese. being on steroids, abusive doses like Sven, is the same thing as being morbidly obese. Neither are good. Many people are going to rely on the echocardiogram, which is a photo essentially of the heart. But the reality is this: do you really need an echocardiogram to tell you if you're not healthy? If you have labored breathing, if you're sitting on a bed inclined up, you cannot even lay flat on your back because it's hard to breathe. This is known as orthopnea, which is a sign of significant heart failure. When you can't lay down effectively, you're sitting up. He's propped up by multiple pillows. He's wearing a CPAP. Do you really need an echocardiogram to say that you're healthy? And let's pretend that it did. Oh, it's perfect. My dad went and had an echocardiogram. They said he had the heart of a 35-year-old. A couple months later, he had a heart attack. Just because a test says that you're healthy, it doesn't mean that you are. And these echocardiograms, they underestimate the level of disease on people who are very large. They're based on an average set of individuals, average population. And just like blood work, which is set by standard deviations from the mean, do you really think that Sven is an average-looking person? It's like trying to get a DEXA scam when you're Brian Shaw or Thor the Mountain. It's not accurate. These are extremes in data. Sven is not an average individual. How many people do you think that got echocardiograms based on the norms, the standard deviations from the mean? Look like this. Bodybuilders were not used as reference ranges in order to determine if you have heart failure or not. And so because of his history, they should have done an agitated saline study, but they didn't do that. We know that he was turning blue, that he was breathing with difficulty, that he isn't healthy. And so imagine this. You go and get your test done. You've been suffering all this time. You can't walk up a flight of stairs. You feel horrendous. And you're sitting there waiting. I wonder what the news will be. The doctor comes back. Everything's great. Is that going to somehow relieve you? For months, you've been struggling to walk up a flight of stairs, then the test comes back, you're good. That would concern me even more. I would almost be thinking, hey, I hope I have something that is curable because I feel like shit, and unless it points to something that I have that I can fix, well, it isn't looking good. I remember an agitated saline study is just an extra test to see if he has a hole in his heart. It's nothing fancy. It's not that difficult to perform. And so why wouldn't you actually do it? On your follow-up echo, if you do in fact get one, please ask for it by name.
Right now my EF is like 50%. For a 23-year-old, it's quite low, but it's okay.
That 50%, although he thinks it's not all that bad, is it actually reliable? Remember, they're comparing him to average people. Does Sven look average? And so it normally will greatly underestimate its difficulties, which is why you need to do an exercise stress test. And remember, with the size of the genetic anomaly, very difficult to get high quality pictures in order to analyze.
If I intend to go up to 130 kilo and my EF goes down to 40 or 45, that's bad. Like that is bad. And that is something we're going to avoid, obviously. So the goal with this protocol is we're going to raise it to like 60% if we can more. You know, when I do get big, it goes back down to 50. Does that make sense?
Despite having this test, he doesn't need to know those results. He's thinking, oh, if I just get that number to 60, I'll be okay. No, you will not. There's more to being fit than simply passing a test. Although this number is concerning, 50% ejection fraction, it's not as concerning as the fact that bro couldn't lay down flat, that he was winded, that he was turning blue, that he's wearing a CPAP, that he was 130 kilograms. And being short of breath at rest, imagine that at 22, you're tired just sitting there. Sitting there is perhaps zone 2 cardios for Sven. This is not good.
Isn't 50 like not good?
Yes, that's why we're bringing it up.
Yeah, but if you are willingly, like knowingly going back down to 50.
Oh no.
Is there no possibility
it's
to
fine.
not
Like
give it to 50?
50 is fine. Like I'm not dying.
No, you are dying. She's like, look, if you know that 50 is bad, you're trying to go up to 60, but then you're going to get it down back to 50 again. Isn't that moronic? He's like, no, 50 is fine. I'm not dying. Well, not yet. But you will be.
With the road that I chose, it's kind of impossible to be higher, if that makes sense.
And so he's saying, look, with the road that I'm choosing, and that road being an IFBB pro, trying to become one, he knows it's impossible to be healthy, but yet he still chooses it because bodybuilding, it chose him.
We're going to try to get it as high as possible, but realistically, right now, like in a month, we can bring it up to maybe 60.
Okay.
But then I'm going to get big again, you know, but obviously on the bulk, I'm still going to have a specific protocol that I'm going to do the entire bulk. So when I do get heavier, it's gonna be more unlikely that my EF goes back down to 50, if that makes sense.
Does anyone think it's really just going to go from 60 to 50 every single time? Is he not going to try to get bigger each and every year? Is he not going to be using and abusing performance-enhancing drugs all of this time? The damage is in the repetition as well as in the doses. The more he does this, the worse it's going to get. His goal shouldn't be to raise this number. It should for him to be to get healthy again. And how would he do that? He would need to lower his body weight. He needs to keep it down. Every time he gets heavy, it's going to make it worse. He should be able to sleep without using a CPAP. He shouldn't have to lay down with multiple pillows. And so what his girlfriend needs to know is that he could literally fool the test by simply taking diuretics before every echocardiogram and raise that number by about 10. And so that 50 could become a 60 simply by sneaking in some diuretics without telling you, and everyone will think he's healthy. See, babe, don't worry. But meanwhile, he's doing serious damage to his health and no one is the wiser. You can fool these machines in the same way. The tests are only as good as the person reading the test. And if you're dishonest in using this test or you're doing different things, it isn't going to be beneficial.
I'm gonna start doing, which I should have done long ago, or I just keep going on and off.
What is it doing?
Can you guess?
Cardio in the beginning?
No caffeine.
No caffeine?
Zero.
And so, you know what? I've got the cure. This is what I'm going to do, babe. Hey. Oh, she's thinking, are you going to do more cardio? You can listen to Coach Greg, eat from his cookbook, add in tons of fiber, lower the doses, avoid trend. Nope. He's going to reduce his caffeine. So he's not going to get blue lobster. He's going to take less caffeine, no coffee. That is what's ruining his health. If I have no coffee, no caffeine, I could blast steroids for years. Does anyone believe that? That is the lowest hanging bullshit that I've ever seen. I'm going to cut out caffeine and somehow that's going to make me healthy? No, let's not cut out the steroids, the anadrol, the D-ball, the testosterone, the trend, the equipoise. No, none of that. It's caffeine. Heavens forbid, bro drinks a Diet Pepsi.
So no more stims for me.
And so no more stims for him. He's going to take now pump products. That is the difference. He's just taking pump products. This is ridiculous. If you've come to the point in your bodybuilding journey where caffeine is the problem, where drinking caffeine, a pre-workout before going to the gym, that somehow is going to be the difference maker in your health, you need to quit. Caffeine is not that dangerous. Guys, if you've been told that you can't drink caffeine because of your health, you best not be using steroids.
The goal is kind of to just put less stress on my heart, because I'm obviously putting a lot on it.
Less stress on the heart, more stress on your card.
What he needs to realize is it would make more sense for him to be on a low sodium diet at this point than low caffeine. And so if we're cutting out caffeine, how are we not reducing our sodium intake? And based on the food choices we're seeing, high sodium, high stupidity.
They're bigger.
Baby, what the f*** is this? Are you kidding?
So my balls are bigger than that.
Yeah, cut the cameras.
There's no way his balls are that big.
If you have high
0.1.
test, does it? Like, it doesn't indicate that you're fertile, right? You're actually, like, not.
No, I think what I'm reading right now is the fertility thing, and it's like 0.1.
And so no, FSH doesn't stand for fertility. It stands for follicle stimulating hormone. Being at 0.1 doesn't mean that you're infertile. It doesn't mean that you're fertile. And if you have high or low levels of testosterone, that is also not a valid test to see if you can get somebody pregnant. And so please, please wear protection.
B12 to
I can put
9.
it up for you if you want.
No, after
No?
the video. Good. Folate, low. I don't know what this is. Deficient, I'm deficient.
And so he has low B12 as well as low folate. This is not good. He should be able to eat plenty of folate. This is something that we shouldn't be seeing. This could lead to cognitive decline delay immediately as well as later in life, as if he'll make it to later in life. And so most likely he has an undiagnosed inflammatory bowel disease, because have you all not seen how much bro is eating to be deficient in folate with the amount of food that he's eating? Foods are now fortified, and with the amount of food that you've clearly seen him eating, how could he be deficient? Bro has a problem.
Progesterone, high. This is high. HDL is low. Non-HDL I think it's good. I don't know. I have red cell width, which is high. You're probably gonna tell me like I'm gonna die of blood clots from this.
His cholesterol, bad. His HDL, that's the good cholesterol, that's too low. The LDL, it's too high. Especially for somebody with heart disease, it's even more important to have your cholesterol in order. And so it isn't looking good. This is while he's only on lower doses. He's not blasting steroids. He's only on HRT. And he still has blood work like this.
Kidneys and liver are good. Echocardiogram, because I did one in February. Nothing changed in terms of size from February. So we're good there. Just my EF dropped down a bit.
He's admitting now that he got his ejection fraction even worse. It was the second time he'd done the echocardiogram, and it was worse this time than last. And so you can see, things are not improving. If it was getting worse in a matter of months, imagine what years would do to those results.
Like after a week of doing this, I can say that my endurance skyrocketed. I feel good, I'm feeling better. I have less brain fog.
Perform on non-resistance training days where possible. Do you really think he's going to go and do 6 to 10 sets of sprint swimming the day after doing squats, and then the next day go out and try to do squats? Sprinting all out in the water. Interval training. And then he's going to do squats. Do you know what actually is interval training, HIIT cardio? Lifting weights. Doing a hard set of squats and then resting, doing hard set of squats again. You're already doing intervals, and so I wouldn't have him do these intervals. I would say, please refrain from this. This is too much. You're a 265-pound man. Asking him to do this at this early of a time in his training, it is ridiculous. He needs to avoid it. Stick to doing Zone 2. Subscribe, click the bell button, watch and follow, comment. Go to AlgoRx, watch the 2 bloops on the side. Please apply to be a member of HGLT. We want to sponsor you. We want more affiliates as well. If you want to start selling these products and you own a store or gym, click for that as well. And if you want to get coached by me or myself and my team, you know what to do for that as well. And until next time, I am out.